What's up, guys? You can it's X Turk, and we're with another Final Fantasy segment, Final Fantasy 15 to be exact, just like before. And we're going to be taking a look at a theory, well, another character in theory that involves one of the main. Yeah.
You call this white thing the block?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's.
It's here, but it's yours.
Okay.
What are you gonna do with it?
Just keep it up there. I'll get it.
Put it on the counter? Okay.
Okay. But we're going to be talking about the character Ravus Nox Theroy. And the reason why this is going to be very important is because, again, episode art is going to come out soon. We don't know, well, at least details. Trailer, of course, is not going to come out for a while. But the announcement's going to come out just a little bit, earlier than before. After I blow up this instant, we'll be talking and getting deep into the Final Fantasy lore like normal. Now, the question is, what would happen if Ravus Nox Theroy turned good before Chapter 13? So, and how would this affect the story? How would this affect the story? Now, there's a reason why Ardyn stopped the battle between Ravus and Noctis. Though, you know what? Do you know what the second reason why that is? It's not the fact that Ravus could kill Noctis, even though it's a high probability. There's actually another reason. If Noctis was able to beat him into submission, Ravus might change and turn on the good side a lot earlier, and Ardyn needed Ravus. Even though Ardyn can't stand Ravus, even though Ardyn can't stand Ravus, he still needs Ravus in order to fulfill the Nifelhime Empire's goals. Just for a little longer, so he couldn't he couldn't afford Noctis turning Ravus and turning a new leaf for Ravus, over a new leaf for Ravus. He couldn't afford that happening, because what would happen is if Noctis won, if Noctis would have won the battle against Ravus, there'd be questions, and then Noctis will tell it like it is, and then open Ravus's mind and tell him this is not what his sister would want, and then it'd take a while, but Ravus would probably turn on the good side. So there's a reason why. See, this is why this theory would be valid, because there's a reason why Ardyn stopped Ravus's Noctis's first battle, and it's not because of poor play, like everyone's like, oh, it's because of poor play because they were supposed to battle. No, there's a reason why they wanted to save Ravus for last. Because if they can't control Ravus's current mind as a human, Ardyn planned to turn him into a demon, so, that he can control using commands. And he did at the end. So you end up fighting something that has Ravus's body. Because I said in a theory video, well, not a theory video, but a discussion video, that Ravus and Ontaria are two different existences. They don't exist with one another. So, yeah. Now, this would change the story a whole lot. And I'm talking about a whole lot. Even DJ Khaled can vouch for this one. A whole lot. First of all, the things that you see in Chapter 13 wouldn't happen. He wouldn't march to challenge Idolus or Ardyn straight up by himself like he did. This time he'd wait for Noctis. So him and Noctis would end up. So him and Noctis would end up fighting Idolus Outer Cap first. Of course, this is still gonna. The same thing will still happen. Ardyn will destroy a train and separate Noctis from his friends. But Ravus will be already there, waiting for Noctis. Instead of going up to Emperor Idolus right away, he would wait. Because I can't really see him join up on the road trip with Prompto, Ignis, and Gladiolus. So he'd wait for Noctis. Because if a more reformed Ravus earlier on the game would wait for Noctis to show up after Tenebrae, after he got a talk from Aranea, which is actually confirmed to be canon, because I've actually did a review on the canon comic book by Square Enix of what happens. Now, they won't go on the train together, so Noctis would still have to fight the boss, the Glacian, and figure out that Gentiana is actually Shiva. All that stuff would take place, where he gets the royal arms from, the Nifelhime territory, the desert territory from Nifelhime. All that stuff would still happen, except Ravus would be waiting for Noctis, because at this point he would understand he can't beat Idolus. The only reason why he went after Idolus the way he does is because Ravus was desperate. And he wasn't going to wait for he was, this version is still kind of arrogant, even though he's reformed. This version of that died in the original timeline chapter 13 special against Idolus is still arrogant. He'd be less arrogant if he would have changed and, turned on the Nifelhime Empire earlier on. Because this time he doesn't view himself as the high commander of the Nifelhime Empire, even though, he won't still have that ego he has when he was still in the Nifelhime Empire. So, he would wait for Noctis to show up. So he'd probably meet Noctis at some point. Noctis would not have his friends with him, which means that, if Prompto could not defeat Versteel, or Versteel was able to get away, Ravus would finish Versteel, because Ravus can at least beat Versteel by himself. Which, this is why I think in episode Ravus would be brilliant, because then it shows his act of betrayal. And then somehow Idolus feels, because this is how Idolus knows, even before Ravus opens his mouth and pisses Idolus off, he knew that Ravus was going to turn against him. And this would explain why. No, but he could take on Versteel, so if Prompto was not successful in his battle with Versteel, and somehow Versteel let Prompto alive, or at least he thought he killed Prompto, but Prompto is still alive, or Arden captures Prompto, or something like that, or Versteel captures Prompto for Arden, Versteel gets killed by Ravus, and RNA has already been RNA has already left, RNA Highwind has already left the Nifelhime Empire, so that won't exist anymore. So only Versteel will probably get killed off. Now, after Noctis and Ravus meets up, they both go challenge Emperor Idolus on his throne. And they challenge him in his human form, because at this point he's still in his human form. But then, Idolus will be pushed to the edge just like the original timeline, except this time he would go straight to his demon form for Ravus, on the fact that he has to face both Ravus and Noctis. And Idolus knows how strong Noctis is. He was threatened by Noctis' presence. He was threatened by Noctis. That's why he wanted him to get wiped out. Of course, this is why I think Arden and Idolus don't get along. It's because Idolus wants to kill Noctis right now, right today, and Arden wants to save Noctis so Noctis could craft that ring so Noctis could be so nice enough to craft the king's ring, spend 10 years in the crystal and craft the rest of the ring for Arden. And that's why I said this is why Idolus and Arden don't get along, because Idolus wants to kill off Noctis because he's afraid of Noctis. So at this point, with both Ravus and Noctis fighting Idolus together, Noctis will lock his Arbinger. First of all, Ravus would slow down Idolus. He would not beat Idolus because Idolus is clearly stronger than Ravus, as we see. But Ravus would, slow down Idolus in that form. And then Noctis would use Arbinger without his buddies. So this time, instead of the brothers fighting Noctis and the brothers fighting Idolus, it'd be Ravus and Noctis fighting Idolus. And this time they're successful because Noctis uses Arbinger, beats Idolus, hits him with the final hit. Of course, it's not done yet because he's still part of the Star Scourge, which it's unexplained how Arden was able to successfully kill him and put his body on the throne thing. But nonetheless, that's a different thing, a different time. Now, this is where it gets crazy. Now, the events will still play the same. Noctis will get trapped in the crystal by Arden, and Arden will reveal his identity to Noctis. But since Ravus is alive, Ravus will train. Ravus, you'd see Ravus probably with a little bit longer hair and a little bit of beard. He looked kind of like Prompto. You know how Prompto just got that beard? Ravus would probably grow a beard at this point. Of course, he'd probably look a lot older than Gladiolus because he is older than Gladiolus at least. I mean, at least a couple of years older. No, they're around the same age. Never mind, they're around the same age. But at this point, when Noctis is trapped in the crystal for 10 years, Ravus would, since Ravus worked for the Nifelhime Empire, he would train Gladiolus, Ignis, Prompto, alongside Aranea training Iris. So you would have 2 people that worked in the Nifelheim. You'd have 2 people that fought for the Nifelheim Empire once. So it'd be even stronger. So at this point, this would be the time where Ravus would actually accept his brotherhood with Noctis. So this time, for the 10 years after Noctis reunites with Prompto, Gladiolus, and Ignis, Ravus would join up with them to go take back Crown City from Arden. Especially because even when Ravus was working for the Nifelheim Empire, he hated Arden. He hated Arden's guts. You could just tell. You could tell when you seen their interactions. He was waiting for this moment all along, but Idolus cut that short in the original timeline. So, with that said, now what they'll do is, I think they'll still fight Ifrit, and Ifrit will be a lot easier now since Ravus is with them. I don't even think Bahamut has to show up this time to slow down. Bahamut would see that Ravus is strong and Ravus is fighting for the good guys now. So what would actually happen now at this point? Is that Ravus is slow Ifrit down. Of course, Gentiana would give the kiss of death to Ravus to Ifrit. To Ifrit. Yeah, Ravus would slow down Ifrit, of course. Sorry. Ravus would slow down Ifrit, and Gentiana would give the kiss of death to Ifrit. Now Ravus would now Arden will still try to knock out everybody else with that purple spell thing, with that one stop ability. Except it won't affect a much stronger 10-year fully trained Ravus Nox Fleury, who at this point becomes stronger than Emperor Idolus himself, because this is 10 years after this whole stuff, so Ravus was able to get stronger. So Ravus don't even need to turn to Ontaria. Ravus is so powerful, he's even stronger than his Ontaria form at this point. So he won't be affected by the spell that Arden cast against the brothers. So this time it'd be Ravus. This time it'd be Ravus and Noctis versus Arden for the final battle. Now, because this is technically a battle of kings, they would have to kill off Ravus in this one. Ravus will have to die. What would happen is Arden, they both fight. Ravus and Noctis fights Arden for a while, and they do, the tag team combo. But Arden would get so annoyed by Ravus, and he'd kill Ravus at this point. And this would unlock the true king's power a lot earlier than it did in the original timeline, where you saw the kings in the background. This will unlock it. And I think Noctis would be a little bit stronger because he formed a bond with Ravus. And he was already mad at Arden for killing Ravus' sister, and also his bride to be Luna Freya. He'd be 10 times even more upset that her brother got killed too, because this is a Ravus that they were able to become friends with. So Noctis would be 10 times stronger than he would in the original timeline. He was already strong. He was already on god level power. He would be double that. At this point, he'd be strong enough that he would be able to keep his own body despite what he traded with Bahamut. So Noctis would live with the body and have the happy ending like normal. With the sacrifice of Ravus, it would be sufficient enough to make Noctis and to live, and then the brothers would live in the castle, and it'd be a true